You lived through this music. You remember the exact moment each of these songs hijacked the radio, the party where it played, the car where you first heard it. What you didn't know was how close most of these moments came to never existing at all. A handwritten lyric sheet, a train ride in Germany, a wooden crate so a 13-year-old could reach the microphone. These were not the blueprints of legends. They were accidents, glitches, one perfect 3 minutes that rewrote a life forever. That's what we're carrying today. "13. Got to Get You Into My Life," Earth, Wind & Fire, 1978.
I gotta get you. Let's tell them like this, fellas. Come on.
Morris White didn't set out to remake the Beatles. A film studio needed a song. A budget was there. A commission arrived. White took the original orchestral Delicate, 1966, and rebuilt it in a Los Angeles studio using the Phoenix horns, a kalimba tuned to G major, a distorted bass guitar that had no place in pop music. The song became something else entirely. It reached number 1 on the R&B charts.
You knew I wanna hold you.
It beat the original. White won a Grammy for an arrangement category that had never crowned a Beatles cover before. The magic wasn't in the idea, it was in the machinery. Next, we meet a boy who couldn't celebrate his greatest victory. 12. Ben, Michael Jackson, 1972. The child stood on a wooden crate to reach the microphone. A 4-foot acoustic baffle separated him from the orchestra. He was 13. A vocal coach forced his voice to stay small to refuse the deepening that puberty demanded. Jackson kept a handwritten lyric sheet where he circled the word friend 3 times.
Always running here and there.
He was singing about a rat. Middle-aged men had written the song. He performed it in a single take without asking what the film was about. On October 14th, he became the youngest solo artist to hit number 1.
I don't listen to a word they say.
That evening, he sat in a tutoring session at the Havenhurst Estate. No celebration, no party. Like Maurice White's remaking of the Beatles, Jackson's genius was technical precision.
We're not wanted anywhere.
Unlike Earth, Wind & Fire's triumph, Jackson's victory came wrapped in isolation. Next, a man battles his own hands in the studio. Here's something that hurts. Only 1% of viewers on Music Express FM are subscribed. 99 out of 100 come for the ride, feeling the energy, discovering songs that hit right in the chest, yet you haven't joined us. Why walk away when the engine is running? Subscribing costs absolutely nothing, but it guarantees you'll always catch the next great track before anyone else. This isn't just a playlist, it's a movement. Don't listen from the sidelines. Be the 1% that fuels the music. Hit subscribe and stay on board. 11. Come Get to This, Marvin Gaye, 1973. Gaye built his own studio on Sunset Boulevard.
I need your love. Don't make me wait. I can't wait.
He called it Marvin's Room, a 16-track tape machine, wood panel walls. He wanted the snare thin like the doo-wop records of the 1950s. Bassist James Jamerson sat on a high stool, fighting heavy alcohol consumption, and played the syncopated lines in a single take. Gaye clashed with producers over everything. He insisted on playing the piano himself. The vocal was captured close to the mouth, breathy, intimate, revealing the wood's natural acoustics. The track had almost no reverb. It was so dry you could hear the room breathing. The equipment fought him, the people fought him, yet something emerged that felt like truth. Let's compare this struggle to the Jacksons moment, which we'll reach soon. Next, elegance arrives as a weapon. 10. Savoir, Faire, Chic, 1978. Nile Rodgers held a 1959 Fender Stratocaster through a Neve mixing console. The tone was clean, compressed, perfect. Bernard Edwards resisted the slower tempo. He wanted something else. The session grew tense and silent until Edwards recorded the bass line in a single take. The track was built at Power Station Studio A in New York City. Wooden acoustic baffles isolated the drums. The title itself was a weapon, designed to court the elite clientele of Studio 54. The song became the foundational template for early 1980s hip-hop production. Precision. Friction. Refinement. This is the opposite of accident. This is control. Next, we encounter a man who borrowed someone else's melody. 9. Die You Think I'm Sexy. Rod Stewart, 1978. The signature synthesizer hook came from Taj Mahal by Brazilian musician Jorge Ben-Jor. Stewart didn't write it. He lifted it. A 1979 copyright lawsuit followed. Stewart agreed to donate his entire royalties to UNICEF as a quiet settlement. The drum pattern mimicked the Rolling Stones. The chord progression belonged to Bobby Womack. The track was synthesizers and mini-moog, high-gloss European disco texture. This was theft wrapped in glamour. Compare this to Marvin Gaye's battle with producers over creative control. Gaye fought to own his own sound. Stewart inherited someone else's, yet both songs endured. Both became eternal. The difference was honesty. Next, A Man Refuses All Outside Help. 8. Crazy You Prince, 1978. Prince performed 27 different instruments on this track at Record Plant in Sausalito.
Crazy you.
He refused session musicians. He refused collaboration. He wanted total control. The recording cost $100,000 when the budget was $70,000.
I get from crazy you.
The executive producer clashed with him over his meticulous pace. The song clocks in at only 1 minute and 8 seconds. It's barely a song. It's an atmospheric transition, a whisper. Prince used a Harrison mixing console to layer his own vocal harmonies. He created a wall of sound from a single voice. This is isolation as architecture. This is loneliness as mastery. Next, we meet raw chaos in the studio. 7. Sexy Lady, Rick James, 1978, the record plant in Los Angeles. A custom-built Neve console, 24-track 2-inch tape. James maintained a punk-funk environment fueled by a $10,000 a week cocaine budget. He fought constantly with Motown executives. The bass guitar was heavily compressed to prevent the signal from clipping the tape. James used a specific 1970s Fender jazz bass with aged round wound strings. The instrument had a worn sunburst finish and a distinctive thump. He demanded his horn section record multiple takes until their lips bled. This wasn't elegance. This wasn't precision. This was desperation and rage channeled into 3 minutes. Compare this raw physicality to Prince's solitary perfection. Both men demanded total control, but James demanded blood. Next, we encounter a man who insisted on live truth. 6. Travelin' Man, Maze featuring Frankie Beverly, 1978, recorded at the Automat Studio in San Francisco on a Harrison mixing console. Beverly insisted on a live-in-the-room feel. The entire band recorded together in the main room. This was against industry trend. Everyone else was overdubbing, isolating, layering. Beverly wanted the friction of human proximity. The drum kit was heavily dampened to achieve a dry California soul sound. The location was 1545 Howard Street, San Francisco. High ceilings, natural reverb characteristics. The master tapes reveal a Capitol Records production stamp from 1978. Right or wrong, I'm here. This was the moment Maze transitioned from raw soul to their sophisticated signature sound. The geography mattered, the architecture mattered, the human bodies in the same room mattered. Next, a family reclaims their own destiny. 5. Destiny the Jacksons, 1978. At Dawnbreaker Studios in San Fernando Valley, Michael, Randy, and Jackie Jackson secured their first ever formal production credits. This ended the Gamble and Huff era. This was a coup. The bassist Nathan Watts used a 1970s Fender Precision bass. The arrangement bridged raw demos with polished disco funk requirements. Michael recorded lead vocals in darkened studio conditions to achieve emotional intimacy. If it's the rich life, I don't want it. The production moved from Philadelphia's Sigma Sound Studios to the West Coast LA. Sound. This was a geographic shift. This was liberation. Compare this to young Michael singing Ben on a wooden crate. Here, he was a man reclaiming his own voice. Here, he had agency. Next, a baritone screams against the machinery. 4. Get up, get down, get funky, get loose. Teddy Pendergrass, 1978. Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia. A customized MCI console, 24-track tape machines. Pendergrass recorded his vocals in total darkness or with a single spotlight to simulate a live performance. He was exhausted. He was sweating. The rhythm section, Keith Benson on drums, Anthony Jackson on bass, utilized a 4-on-the-floor kick pattern.
Thank you very much.
Pendergrass's improvisational ad-libs rode on top of that anchor. The producer used The Butcher, a specific compression setting, to prevent his vocal transients from distorting the master tape. His screams threatened to break the machinery. The sweat was on the tape. This was raw power fighting, polished engineering. Released June 1978 on Life is a Song Worth Singing. The track became the blueprint for his midnight concerts. Next, we encounter a ghost in the machine. 3. Snowflake, the Crusaders, 1978, Hollywood Sound Recorders, a customized Nev console. Engineer Rick Pekinen used high-bias Ampex tape to capture Joe Sample's Rhodes Suitcase 73. The track featured a dry room acoustic. Wilton Felder's tenor sax was captured with a Neumann U67 and specific baffle arrangement. Styx Hooper's bass drum was a 22-inch Gretsch with a single head and heavy packing blanket inside. The sound was dead thuddy, pure funk. The Rhodes piano exhibited a mechanical time wobble on the upper register notes, a physical flaw that became a feature. The master tape shows signs of oxide shedding near the transition. The machinery was deteriorating even as it captured perfection. This is the opposite of Prince's control. This is accident as art. Next, we meet a melody born on a train. 2. Always and Forever, Heatwave, 1976. Rod Temperton wrote the melody on a Wurlitzer piano while traveling on a German commuter train to a rehearsal. A train, a piano, a melody that would become eternal. Engineer Barry Blue used a specific EMT 140 plate reverb at Audio International Studios in London. The original master tape contains a subtle hum from a malfunctioning 24-track Studer tape machine. A flaw. An accident. The song peaked at number 2 on the U.S. Billboard R&B chart in 1978. Platinum certification. Wedding ceremonies worldwide. A melody born in motion, captured in imperfection, became the sound of love itself. Next, we reach the foundation. 1. Tear the Roof Off the Sucker, Give Up the Funk, Parliament, 1976. We're gonna turn this mother out. United Sound Systems in Detroit, Studio A. Bassist Bootsy Collins used a custom space bass and Mutron 3 envelope filter. Jerome Braley's 4-on-the-floor kick drum was layered on 24-track Ampex tape. Engineer Jim Vitti captured subharmonic frequencies that made the room itself vibrate. George Clinton instructed the horn section to play with a slight lag, creating behind-the-beat tension. 15 vocalists crowded around a single microphone to simulate stadium acoustics. The mothership stage prop weighed 1,200 pounds. It required a specialized winch to descend. This was not just a song. This was architecture. This was physics. This was the sound of a room being torn open from the inside. This is where we began.